everybody's right for everybody. All right, let's get it.
We've got a big challenge in front of us. You know, Philadelphia is an outstanding team. They've got a lot of great players. You know, Coach Peterson does a great job with that team. I think he prepares them to be ready to go every single week, and you know, they're very competitive. It's a 60-minute game with these guys.
Get your mind right to take it every play for the next 60 minutes.
It's just a huge challenge for us this week. Going to Philly is a tough place to play.
Obviously, great to win our home opener, and you know, just move on, try to get another one this week.
We're on a new week now. We got to get ready for Philadelphia and just be ready to go.
I love all my brothers, all my teammates. You know, I love to go out there and compete with them. I'm just going out there having fun.
Kerryon to the 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions. Off the football, the Lions have got it. They took it away, and he's caught. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, Kenny Galladay, that's outstanding. So it is intercepted by the Lions, intercepted by Darius Slay. Picked it off in the end zone. Oh, Darius, young man, you did it again.
Friday is a critically important day for us. We're excited to get out there and get to work here today and you know, try to do a good job here with the red area and some of the other situational things that we got to clean up. But just, you know how tremendously big of a challenge we have for us this weekend, traveling to Philadelphia, playing there with, you know, Coach Peterson and the great job that he does with his team and the different, you know, the different weapons that they have on offense, the different schemes they have on defense. And obviously, they just play outstanding special teams all the way across the board. So we got to go out there and work hard today, and hopefully, you know, we can produce here on Sunday and improve. Just, you know, big points for us are going to be trying to play smart and trying to eliminate the penalties. I think that's a big thing right now that we have a major point of emphasis on. I think we're kind of working through a lot of those situations, especially on special teams, where we have a lot of different guys kind of mixed in there and some different schemes that we're seeing each week that we have to you know, just do a good job of executing, you know, smartly here on Sunday. We know from a defensive perspective, offensively, you know, it's a big challenge with the amount of guys that they have and weapons that they can use. And really the biggest thing is that, you know, they have such a dynamic scheme on offense that they can really overcome a lot of the situations that come up, whether it's injury related or scheme related. They can move the ball in different directions. So that'll be a big challenge for us here as we kind of finish up the week. And then certainly on offense, we know that their defense is going to have some things dialed up for us that we probably haven't seen yet from that standpoint, from pressures, exchange rushes, different coverage looks. And, you know, they have two really good players up front, especially Fletcher Cox. I mean, he's one of the best in the league. He's so big and so strong, so powerful in the middle. That'll be a little bit different than maybe what we've seen the last couple of weeks where a lot of it's been on the edge. Not to exclude, obviously, you know, Brandon Graham was great on the edge, and he can get off and do all that and set the edge and be effective there too. So, you know, we got to have a good day here today and you know, get ready to go this weekend. So it's kind of where we are right now.
I back and just read what you said before the Super Bowl against the Eagles, just that offense, and you were talking about how they stretch it horizontally and vertically, and sort of you have to defend every blade of grass. Is it still the same? Do they still do some of the RPO stuff too?
Yep.
There's still a lot of that.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of the same philosophy. And, if you think about it, from the roots of Coach Peterson and the West Coast offense, that is definitely a horizontal stretch offense. And, where they will make you defend just every area, horizontally, whether it's the RPO system, which is kind of, mixed in their scheme now, or just getting the 5 wide receivers eligibles out right now into space and trying to create those conflicts for the defense. So that's certainly part of it. And then they've done a good job of mixing in some of the different influences from some of the other coaches and philosophies, but there are the shots downfield, the overposts, and kind of some of those condensed formations where they're going to put the ball up and get it vertical to some of their, they have big, long wide receivers and, guys that can push it vertical along with the tight ends. I think that's really where those guys play into a factor of pushing the, the vertical part of the passing game right down the middle, obviously with Ertz. But it's still a lot of the same principles, and that's where it's, so multi-leveled or layered that depending on where they are, they can just move it, into different directions and exploit what you're trying to do because they have those options available.
With guys like Ertz, you have taken an approach of throwing different coverage combinations at them throughout the game, different personnel groupings. Is that something you maybe look to do again in this matchup? You don't want to give him a consistent look and allow him to get comfortable?
Yeah, certainly you're trying to identify those guys that are impact players. He's one of them. They have a lot of them on offense, and the addition of Sproles kind of coming out of the backfield really prevents a different challenge with that. So you're kind of in a little bit of a bind there. And I would say on top of that, when you put the quarterback in a situation where he's a guy that can get out of the pocket, escape, move, he's athletic, he's strong, and then mix in some of the run-pass conflicts that they present with the RPO or option type of plays that they have, you really have to just try to be as balanced as possible. Otherwise, you're going to maybe overcompensate in one area and open up something else. So that's really the biggest challenge from that standpoint.
Last year, on defense for you guys, the turnovers just weren't there. Bob talked about the need for more playmakers. So far, you've got a few from Tracy and Slay and Tobias. How pleased are you with that progress, and what do you attribute?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think for us, we probably made a big emphasis, and maybe I can't remember if we've talked about it through the spring and some of the emphasis points that we've had with that. It's early, so we'll kind of wait to praise anything yet until we kind of get it going and be a little bit more consistent. But I would say, one of the things I mentioned was just I thought I had to do a better job of coaching the awareness of the ball. I thought I had to really do a better job of just kind of explaining these are things we look for. These are things we can find where we can get the ball out, and kind of some of the situations where maybe, we identify a player or two on the other side that we can attack in those situations. So we tried to start that in the spring and really educate, what that ball awareness looks like from that standpoint. And I think the guys, that have had the opportunities to go up and make plays, especially in the, interception category, which is a little bit different because there's some, coverage factors that go into that. Those guys have been able to come down with some of those plays that maybe we missed last year in those situations and weren't able to capitalize. So it was good for the first 2 weeks. We're always pushing to make it better, and hopefully we can kind of keep on that trend. But it's certainly something that influences the game so much, the turnover ratio in regards to that. So it's a big point of emphasis for us.
Sort of building off Darren Sproles, how much different are they when he's on the field as opposed to when Sanders and Howard are out there?
Yeah, I think there's different things they certainly try to do with Sproles and some things that they can do to put you in a bind. Certainly whether he's free releasing from the backfield or they just put him in empty sets and get him out and try to get a matchup from that facet. They'll do the horizontal passing game with him, and he can release from that backfield position, and it's almost like he's in a wide receiver bunch set anyway. So they do mix him up a little bit. He has a really good run set, skill set also, so they can do that. Certainly I think the young back Sanders, they're trying to do a lot with him too. You'll see him in empty sets, and you'll see him kind of get up in some of those same sort of situations. I think he's a pretty good player. I think he's learning the offense, and they're bringing him along at a fast pace. So I still see him kind of being that same multiple layer of offensive skill player as Sproles. And then, certainly from that standpoint, Howard, we know what he is. We know who he is. He's just really good at it. He's a downhill, physical, tough runner. He has enough speed to get to the edge and get outside. I don't think they're afraid to use him in the passing game either. Certainly from that standpoint, this offense has the ability to get the ball checked down to the back or get it out into space to the back. And the screen game will be part of that too, from that aspect of it, and just continue to use them. But a little bit different, but they all have kind of maybe some nuances that make them unique from that standpoint.
Going up against Jason Peters and Lane Johnson, two big guys.
Yeah. Peters, I've been on the other side of him for a long time, even going back to, where he was previously. So I think he's outstanding. Lane's outstanding. Those guys work really hard. Jeff Stoughton, who's their offensive line coach, and I go back a long ways, and I think he does an outstanding job of coaching those guys. Also, I just think that they do a great job in the run game, controlling the game. Kelsey kind of in the middle coordinates a lot of that. The double teams, they grind the defensive linemen out of there. They're not quick to get off their double teams. They stay on them for a long time and just move the line of scrimmage. So I think they're well coached. I think they play really well together, and certainly, two outstanding tackles to be able to hold the width of the pocket when the quarterback has to drop back and pass. So it's a really good unit.
I wanted to ask about Tracy's frame, speed, kind of what he brings back there, but he leads the league in solo tackles. There's a lot of you guys as well. Just has that been a nice part of his game too? Because those guys back there certainly have to be pretty sure tacklers.
Sure. Tackling is critically important for all of our players. From that standpoint, and I think Tracy continues to try to improve and work hard to get better every single week, and we put different aspects of the game plan on him each week, which is a little bit different, but I think all those guys in the back end are working hard to get better. Certainly, we want guys to be able to tackle. We want guys to be able to be in that position to get them down when they have to. Maybe sometimes situations where we don't want the tackler to get all the way out to the secondary would be a little bit better. But I think just in general, when it does, those guys have to be able to tackle in that situation.
You've got a couple of weeks of looks now at Jared Davis. Just curious what you've seen from him, and what does he give your defense when he does get back out there Sunday?
Yeah. I think JD just in general, obviously this is a kid that loves the game. I mean, he just loves to come in and prepare every week, and he loves to learn, and he's just, every single day, that intensity to get better is, as a coach, is something you love to see. I think he obviously, provides a layer of leadership and, I'll say comfort or calmness to the middle of the defense, when he's out there because of his knowledge and his ability to control the middle part of what we do in the defensive scheme. I think those other guys have done a great job, and really Devon Kennard, I think, has stepped in great as far as the communication on the field. I think he's done a phenomenal job with that too. So, just another really good young linebacker, and we'll be excited to have him out there. He's the leader of our defense, and somebody that kind of ties the middle of our defense together between the defensive line and the secondary, which is, it's a big communication system that works through our defense, and it starts from the inside out, and it's got to go from the back end to the front end and the front end to the back end. And those players that are in that position, JD in particular, it's a lot of communication they have to handle. He does a good job with it.
Back Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pushing towards hopefully a good practice here today, and we'll see what it looks like on Sunday. We take everything day by day from that standpoint, especially when we travel too. There's certain things that happen when you fly, and you have to go up into the air and come back down. So we always just make sure we're cautious as we push through. So we'll see.
The uptick in holding penalties around the league right now, last night maybe it was an exaggeration, but do you have to coach differently to make sure you guys aren't called for holding?
Yeah, I think there's the penalties just in general. We always try to coach to maybe the particular crews that we're going to see. We try to keep track of who's calling what and how they're calling it and what they're looking for. We're certainly trying to obviously coach towards the rules and the way that they're written and the interpretation of the rules, I guess is the best way to put it, because that's, I think, where the biggest discrepancies can come. So we're always trying to keep track of that because it's important. It's really, really important for us to understand what they're calling. Another part of it, too, is to in-game adjust. Sometimes we'll get something early in the game, offensively, defensively, or special teams, and we'll have to go to the sideline and be like, all right, look, hey, they're calling this. This is what they're calling in this game, so you have to make sure we're not doing this on that particular play, or they're looking at this area very tight. So let's be smart in those situations. So definitely something we're aware of. Go ahead, Jen.
Talking an awful lot about stacking wins, and last season you guys didn't win back-to-back games. How important would it be, and what could it do for this team right now, confidence-wise, to be able to win back-to-back games?
Sure. I think it's always good when you can win back-to-back, win in general. But I think for us, the focus, I think for us right now is just 1 week at a time. Let's just try to improve 1 week at a time. And maybe if we get, a quarter of the way through the season or halfway through the season, at that point, we can, in the self-scout part of it, you take a look back and say, okay, hey, why did this look like this? Or why did that look like that? And hey, maybe we were able to put a couple good games in a row, and this is why, and then try to build and learn from that sort of standpoint. So I think the main theme for us this week is just, we just got to put a good work week in and go out and try to play well on Sunday, and not maybe so much right now put the emphasis on making sure that it has to be back to back and putting kind of that pressure on it. It's really just right now, it's 1 week at a time.
Hawkinson was the first game, he had a bunch of targets, a bunch of yards. Second week, it was a lot different for blocking. How much does that help his growth as a tight end?
I think it definitely does. It's something we talk about, especially young players, if they have big games early in their careers, how different I just think the NFL is compared to college, and how coordinators shift schemes to players. And that's something that you can talk a lot about, and we certainly try to do in practice to get, whoever it is, whether it's a receiver, a back, a tight end, some of those looks. But until you get into a game and say, okay, hey, this is what they're doing to particularly, get their help or their coverage or, certain situations to this particular player, that's where the experience and the growth really occurs. So it's tough because, when they take a good player out of the game, it's hard for you from that standpoint. But the growth standpoint of him being able to see those things early in his career will help him longer, long-term wise, that'll happen. As opposed to maybe some players that get away with it their first year, and then the second year they come in and it's all different, for them as a player. So I think it was a good learning experience for him. And then I think for us offensively, hopefully it showed that, where we had a couple guys that maybe had a good production the week before, and those guys were kind of played a little bit differently in week 2, that some other guys stepped up and had good production. And that's really how the NFL has to work, every single week. So overall, I'd say for the offense, kind of a good learning experience just in general. Yep.
They're a very good run defense, 3rd in the league, but we got to be able to run the ball to open up our passing game. We got to be able to pass to open up our run game. So trying to make a few more big plays than we have these past couple of weeks and keep it rolling.
When you see like guys like Devontae and so on average like 2.2 yards per carry, do you look at all of that, or you just look for ways for you to do?
Everybody gives it up eventually. No matter how good your run defense is, you're never perfect, and those are good backs. They stopped in that week, but this is a whole new week, a whole new offense they have to deal with, and we look forward to running.
Yeah. Are you starting to feel like the old man in the running backs room with CJ gone?
Well, in terms of being in Detroit, yeah. I mean, I'm the only one that's here from last year, then the only one, still here from summer except for Ty. So, it's weird like that, but it is what it is. It's the NFL, a lot of turnover. Like I said, sooner or later, Ty will be the old man in the room and I'll be gone. So, it is what it is. It happens.
What is the advantages, though, that you guys have a really young running back core, and you guys can really do a lot of different things?
Yeah, like you said, we could all do a lot of different things, and by NFL standards, you have a lot of life left in us. So, that gives Bev a lot of creativity, it gives the offense a lot of dynamic weapons, and it's nice when, the past 2 weeks we've been able to have 4 backs up and 4 backs play, so that's very convenient, and it kind of keeps the defense guessing as well.
I think we asked you this last week, but you're close to breaking one. If you break one, what does that do how does that set up other runs when you finally, and plus the passing game and play action and all that?
Yeah, it sets up other ones first and foremost. Defense is on its heels. No defense likes to get the ball ran on them. That's just known around the league. Nobody does. So when you do it, it kind of, gets your offense going, gets your crowd, gets your sideline, your offensive lineman going, which is very key. And then obviously, staff is probably the happiest person when it happens because he knows that, hey, we can play action now. He can kind of do what he wants with the defense, and that gives him a lot of opportunities as well.
What gives you reason to believe that you guys are close in the run game?
We've had opportunities. I've missed some. We've had a missed block here and there, but most and foremost, like I said, I've had a couple of just wrong reads here. Maybe should have went here. That probably would have sprung another 10 or 15 yards. So it's all stuff that we can fix. It's all stuff that if we just hold this block a little bit longer, if I see this hole a little bit sooner, it's not like we're just getting our butts kicked and not blocking anybody. That would be a whole different issue. It's all things that we can fix, and that's what gives me the confidence.
Not to get too technical, but it looks like your screen game's a little bit different too. It's a little different than what you ran on the gym back here.
Yeah, we got a lot more options this year. We've got a lot of guys that are dynamic, that can get the ball, can gain chunk yardage, and gives a lot of options, a lot of free plays that we can get and get to different people. Keeps the defense guessing as well.
You have a good feel, even though you didn't score a lot of points, where the offense is right now, overall.
Yeah, we drove the ball. Even the first week, we tied, but we had 500 yards of offense. And we drove the ball again last week, just got to finish. So it's good to get down the field. Sucks to not finish, so we focus on finishing this week, and we'll be able to put up a lot of points.
Everybody wants to see the techno ball runs, and everything, and the crazy, breakout runs and everything. But you guys had almost 100 yards of rushing offense. You stuck with the run. You kept the defense, honoring the run. Is that what is most important, being effective?
Yeah, because that's what leads to wins. Big runs, it helps by any means. It definitely helps, but keeping with it, being consistent, getting as many yards, keeping the defense honest, that's what leads to wins. You know, we can't let them just put nickel or dime defense out there and play straight pass against staff. You know, that's not fair to him. It's not fair to our receivers trying to get open against 7, 8-man coverage. So as long as, like you said, 100 yards, I mean, it's the NFL, man. These dudes, they get paid just like we do, and they're very good and they're very stout. So it's just hard to do some weeks, and some weeks is easier than others.
Is it one thing you found in the league, though, that it's harder to get long runs against it than it is in college?
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
see the 40, 50, 60.
Yeah, man. There's a lot bigger people than even college. There's a lot bigger athletes at the linebacker level. And DBs, they understand if they don't tackle, they don't have a job. So those guys, they come up, they tackle, especially safeties in this league. And it's a lot harder than college, but hey, that's what you came to play for.
With how aggressive this Eagles defense is,
Yep.
I'm assuming pass protection was probably a big focus this week.
Yep.
Where are you at that point in your game? I know that's something that young players typically struggle with.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot better, especially from last year. Just getting more comfortable, just diagnosing some things. But like you said, they're very aggressive, so they watch the same film I watch. So they know, hey, we ran this last week. Can we do it again this week? Maybe. Can we not? Do we draw something up? You just got to play by your rules, by your offense's rules. Don't overthink it. And when it comes that time, you got to put your body on the line, you know. And that's what we plan to do.
Does being the old guy in the room change the way you carry yourself? Do you think of yourself as more?
Nah, because I'm still only 22, so it's not like I'm freaking 38. But you know, I mean, it's just weird. But you're the only one who knows things from last year, and then from the summer, you know, it's just kind of weird. But you know, our running back room it was great in the summer. It was great last year. It's been great this year. You know, even with all the turnover we've had, we've kept it great. Our running back coach has kept consistent and bringing the energy and keeping us level. So when you have that kind of, you know, bond going, it makes it real easy to introduce new guys, put them in the fold, and you know, now it just means I have to hold myself to a higher standard than even before, just because I'm supposed to know everything more than anybody else in the room. So it just keeps me. It's just a challenge that I have to overcome.
Was the CJ gone? You guys don't really have that big back per se.
Yeah.
I mean, can you be that guy?
Yeah. I mean, look, if we block everybody 5 yards downfield, it don't matter how small your back is, you're going to get that first down. So I just got to go out there. I got to run. I know they're going to go out there. I know they're going to block their butts off, and we'll see where it falls.
Speaking of being 38, Darren Sproles is 36. Can
Yeah.
you imagine being 36 and still...
Look, if I was 36, I promise you I would not be on this football field. That's a long time, especially at his size and the way he plays the game. I mean, he plays with no fear, plays with no – I mean, he goes out there, he runs like he's 220 pounds. And, I mean, that's major respect. You know, he's done this for a long time. He's had fun with it. And if I was still running like him, I mean, maybe I would still be out there, but he's still as electric as ever. And he's playing top-notch ball, so it's hard to blame him.
Is he a guy that you watch it all coming up? I mean, he kind of has the same.
Yeah, I mean, everybody. You gotta watch Sproles play, man. Like I said, to see a little dude out there this tall, this wide, scurrying around that field with grown men making him look silly, I mean, it is ridiculous. And to do it at the level for how long he's done it, I mean, it's nothing short of incredible.